All right. So, after this broadcast, in about half an hour, I have to be on. The show's called Red Evening with Jack Napier and Rob Says, and they asked me to have a look at this particular video, which is Charisma on Command's breakdown of the psychology of OnlyFans simps. So, I figured I might as well kill two birds with one stone and analyze the psychology of this video, or analyze this video where he's analyzing the psychology of OnlyFans simps, and give my critique of it while I'm sitting in a chat with you. Simply Deep, first in the door. Good to see you, mate. Welcome. Let's, without further ado, let's take a look at the video. Alrighty. So, let's see. You'll be able to see that very shortly.
First, OnlyFans has nailed the dopamine hooks of social media sites and casinos that pornography has not fully exploited on the web. You see, the very structure of OnlyFans is gated silos. When you log into a creator's page...
that didn't work. Technical difficulties. I'm going to rewind to here. Let's try that one more time. And share that. Boom. Boom. That's better. All right, cool. So he tries to this guy's breaking down the psychology of OnlyFans simps, and I watched this one more time, but I want to watch it again with you guys. And I think he makes he sort of connects two things that aren't related a lot in this video, and he makes some leaping assumptions, which I think are very incorrect. But at the end, he does nail like the overall psychology behind why OnlyFans is successful. So let's get into it.
First, OnlyFans has nailed the dopamine hooks of social media sites and casinos.
So he makes the claim that it's nailing the dopamine hooks of casinos. Now, if you have any experience with OnlyFans, it's not really gamified like a casino is. Not in the way that he's sort of portraying it to be, and he makes this connection between the two. He makes a connection between like webcamming, in particular my free cams, who actually own OnlyFans. Right, they're OnlyFans and my free cams are two totally separate sites, totally separate things. But there are a lot of gamified elements and casino elements that some cam girls use in their live streams, which he mentions here, which is sort of gamified stuff that he's talking about.
The pornography has not fully exploited on the web. You see, the very structure of OnlyFans is gated silos. When you log into a creator's page, you can see the number of posts they have, but no details about those posts. Once you're a subscriber, you can see the posts, but some of them are blurred out behind a locked paywall.
See, that's just a paywall technique. I don't think that is really like... He's making the illusion that by blurring out stuff and by hiding content, you make people like it hooks the OnlyFans users more on the service than say a free tube site. The problem with that is that you have to actually be a subscriber in the first place to sort of to see that. So it's like in this particular section here, he kind of makes the assumption that I think his conclusion is backwards. He makes the assumption here that it's the fact that you can't see stuff which is keeping them coming back as customers, when in reality it's not really the case. Like they already have to be subscribed in order to unlock this kind of stuff. So I think his assumptions are backwards here. Let's have a quick look at what I'm talking about.
The only thing that you can see is a provocative text description. Of course, though, you can pay to unlock those. If you want to go deeper into the gated community, you can order custom videos, but you'll have to send extra tip money to get those made for you.
That's correct.
The constant feeling that one has on OnlyFans is kind of like the one that you might get if your phone buzzed with a text or someone sent you a snap video, but you couldn't open it. There's
not really. No, that's not at all true, because like all the DM, like girls are sending DMs in the OnlyFans DM section, and that's like premium content. And OnlyFans doesn't even have a really like a properly functioning fucking web app because it got taken off the Apple Store. So yeah, like he's making the assumption that you get a ping, you can't see it. So by the virtue of the fact that you can't actually see it, it provides a sort of dopamine hook. But there's no like the whole point of the casino like roulette wheel, right? The reason why a casino, now I'm finally hitting my stride. My brain's working properly. I was rambling for a bit there. The reason why a casino roulette wheel or a casino slot machine is a real hook somebody and is a dopamine hit, right? Is because of what's the word? The phrase is like variable reward. It's not the right phrase, but it's kind of similar. Like inconsistency in the reward. You pull the lever, things spin, there's anticipation, and then it's like sometimes you get a reward, sometimes you don't, right? That's like variable reward is the easiest way to hook somebody on something. But with OnlyFans, there isn't a variable reward because you choose whether or not to open something. That's not what OnlyFans does. It doesn't provide a variable reward. It provides a paywall for stuff. Like in terms of what he's talking about here, the DMs side of the paid DM side of OnlyFans. It doesn't create that same slot machine dopamine hit that he's trying to make an analogy of.
Mystery, you're thinking about it, and that creates anticipation. You can contrast this with X-rated websites where every mystery is immediately revealed. Want to know what's in a video? In seconds, you can read the explicit title, see an explicit thumbnail, and even hover over that thumbnail to see various moments in the scene. There's almost zero space in between desire and the fulfillment of that desire. With OnlyFans, though, your imagination has to work. You focus on the hints at each level of gated content, wondering what exactly is on the other side.
Very often the girls actually describe exactly what is on the other side, or like fans will like, I know when I do this, I'll be like he's described, you'll use like a clickbaity kind of like tempting title on some sealed content and then you'll send it out, and basically like fans, if they're curious about it, will very often reply asking what exactly is in the content so they know if they want to purchase it or not. So that isn't really like one of the main, I don't think that his assumption here is correct, that that's not one of the main triggers for people like buying. He does make a really good, correct assumption at the very end of this video, but we'll get to that.
And when you focus longer on something, you tend to value it more. That's partially why digital slot machines still show the reel stopping one by one. That extra time builds anticipation and investment in the game. Now, the dopamine hacks are even more aggressive on the live cams.
He makes a point there about investment, which is correct, but he doesn't even draw the correct conclusion. So there is something that is correct with OnlyFans is the fact that people pay a subscription to get into the OnlyFans account, right? And then they can pay to unlock more premium content on an OnlyFans account, right? So you get it's like the more a customer commits, the more a customer invests. I guess there's like this. There's not really. There's partially maybe there's an element of sunk cost fallacy in there, where they feel like the more they invest, they're going to get more in return in the long run. But there's definitely it's like a compliance thing. It's like, yeah, he's correct about the investment side of things here. Like the more a customer or more a fan is invested in a particular OnlyFans girl, the more likely he is to keep investing in them. Now, here's where he makes a false comparison, because he starts talking about webcamming and MyFreeCams, which is a totally different platform. And in what like they can do things on MyFreeCams, which he's going to show, which we can't do it in the same way on OnlyFans. Unless, well, there is live streaming and stuff now, but that's like a relatively it's not like the primary money driver on OnlyFans.
Sister sites that incorporate other staples of the gambling industry straight from it. There are Keno boards in the chat where buying the winning number can get you a sexy dance or something of that nature instead of gambling winnings. There's roulette wheels with different racy activities for your preferred cam girl to act out. And if you donate enough tips on censored OnlyFans posts, that will make the creator show the uncensored version.
Correct. That's buying premium booty.
The unclear amount required.
That's buying premium content. Now he makes a point there about like in webcam chats like roulette wheels and like these sort of like random prize reward things. That is purely on the girl herself. It's not necessarily like there's features in the My Free Cams app that allow them to do that, but it's entirely up to the actual person themselves about what they use. He kind of makes, he's making a bit of an assumption here that like all the girls do the exact same stuff, and they don't. Like the ones who do really well, the ones who do really successful do that stuff, do like the roulette wheel, kind of like random reward stuff. But not all of them. And same with OnlyFans. They don't, like some girls go live and actually do live streaming through the OnlyFans platform as well. But again, not all of them do.
Though to win is reminiscent of those coin games in Chuck E. Cheese, where the next coin could be the one that tipped the whole game. Again, the prize in all of these cases is similar to what's available on every other pornography website. But the mystery and anticipation drives seemingly irrational behavior. Family Guy understood this years ago.
No, not so fast, Lois. A boat's a boat, but the mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat.
But the mystery box isn't the only thing that has made OnlyFans so successful.
See, there's not really like when a girl put like the mystery box element of it is not really that much of a mystery because it's like if it's a photo, right? If it's a concealed photo, you can kind of see like there's a blurred out of the photo. You can kind of see what the photo is going to be of. It's just blurred out. Like so, it's obviously someone bending over and showing their ass. Then it's obviously someone bending over and showing their ass, right? Or if it's their titties, it's obviously their titties. And then with the video side of things, like again, creators are very often telling you exactly what is in the video, so they know because they're going to send out different videos to cater for certain fetishes amongst their fans. So this might be a foot fetish video, this might be a BJ video, this might be a whatever. So people aren't not. They're pretty much aware of what's coming up when they click the buy, when they click to unlock this content. It's not as much of a mystery as you might think. Like, yeah, they haven't seen it, but they still kind of know what they're paying for when they click the button.
Our second point is where OnlyFans starts to really distinguish itself. Take the top creator, Gem Wolfie. Her Instagram page is pretty...
See, I didn't know this. I don't know if she is actually the top creator. That would really surprise me. But funnily enough, this girl is actually from where I'm from. She's from Perth in Western Australia. So good for you, Gem Wolfie.
Pretty darn explicit in several photos. But what's missing here? You. On Instagram, Gem is often aloof. She doesn't always look at the camera.
So he's just, okay, this is kind of ridiculous. This state claim he's making here. She doesn't always look at the camera. 2 of the last 3 photos, if you rewind this, 2 of the last 3 photos he just brought up were her looking directly at the camera on her Instagram account. So he's making like, he's reaching for like a conclusion here.
The audience is more like a voyeur that she doesn't recognize. But on OnlyFans, the audience is acknowledged. She and other creators will often send messages asking you to react if you like the recent shots. And at the time of writing this, in her last 10 Instagram posts, Gem has commented the word you or your only twice. But with OnlyFans, those words appear in 8 of the last 10 posts.
The reason for that is because if you're like when she's sending stuff to her subscribers, she's directly talking to them. Like, I think this guy is attributing too much like intent behind this. I really don't think. I mean, and don't get me wrong. She obviously knows how to sell herself. She's obviously a good. She's a hustler. She's a good marketer, right? You have to be at the top of OnlyFans. But I genuinely don't think that she's taking this deep of a dive into the psychology before she's doing, like, I don't think there's this much planning that's going into, like, the psychology of the words she's using when she's writing captions on stuff and sending DMs and messages. I think that's purely a byproduct of, like, when you're talking on OnlyFans, like, here's the reason why a lot of, let me just double check that this is actually still cracking along fine. Excellent. People are in the chat. People are listening. Brilliant. I'd be very embarrassed if I'd been streaming for like the last 15 minutes and you couldn't see a damn thing I'm talking about. Let's go back to boom. Yeah. So there's a reason that she's going to be using the words "your" a lot on OnlyFans, and that's because whenever anyone who has an OnlyFans account knows that, and he kind of alludes to this at the end of the video, and I'm kind of giving you a spoiler, but everyone knows that it's about that connection between the fan and the object of their fantasy, right? So you're always like, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that you should be writing captions and messages directed at an individual, rather than saying, it's not like like here in my chat, if I'm referring to everyone, I'm going to be like, hey guys, hey everyone. I'm using plurals, like, because we're a group, right? So, like Twitch streamers do this, right? They'll be like good example, John from On Life Dating. Welcome to the Hot Dude Army, members of the Hot Dude Army. It's a plural. He's referring to us as a group. On OnlyFans, it's not about that. It's about, like, they want a connection with you one-on-one, more so than being part of, like, a tribe of fans. Like, they know there's other fans there, but they kind of don't want you to draw too much. Like, that's not what they want the focus of the attention to be on. So that's why everyone uses, like, your or you, like, references in their OnlyFans DMs and messages and captions versus, like, Instagram posts. I really don't think it's as deep a psychological, like, intention as he's making it out to be.
This recognition becomes something like intimacy when creators send good morning or good night texts claiming to be thinking of you. One creator sent me a message complaining about being bored, asking me/all of us to write messages to give her something to do. And
that's called a trap, my friend. So, like, basically, if it's actually, for a start, if it's actually her doing the DMing, sometimes it's her boyfriend, sometimes it's her manager. But if it's actually her doing the DMing, she probably is bored because a lot of these girls just sit around waiting to, like, do content. So she probably is actually bored. But she knows, like, all these girls know that these simps want to be taught, like, they want to feel like a boyfriend, basically, to feel like they're part of her life. So they're going to send messages that are kind of like girlfriendy, or like or very much at least attention grabbing, right?
And I'll tell you how I responded in the next point, but the point for now is that the relationship on OnlyFans begins to mimic a friendship or a long-distance relationship,
Correct.
At least in its cadence.
Correct.
In fact, active members of live cam chat rooms often form friend groups. They recognize one another when they came in, which was shocking to me. They'll check in with one another to see how the big work project went, or where they've been if they haven't showed up in a while.
See, this is something I have never noticed before, but maybe, I mean, I've never been a webcammer. I have friends who are, and what they tell me is that it's the girl's job to remember, like, so if one of their fans in the chat had, like, a big business meeting or had, like, a birthday or had something special coming up, like, it's kind of, that's part of the girl's work ethic, and, like, that's part of her selling point, is that she is constantly remembering these guys all the time and remembering all these little details about their life. But I haven't really heard any girl mention this before. I mean, maybe it's true. Maybe there are some that do this. I've never heard a girl mention, like, that the guys in the chat room kind of form a community in themselves and chat to themselves on her stream. That's more of a Twitch thing, as far as I'm aware. Twitch and a YouTube thing, as far as I'm aware.
If the creator doesn't stream, though, the fans can't hang with that friend group on that day. So aspects of intimate relationships and friendships are offered via OnlyFans. But really, it's this last piece.
And again, he's making a link between, like, that, what he just showed was my free cams. That's not OnlyFans. But he just made a link saying, like, people come to OnlyFans for that kind of connection, like the camaraderie connection, which is absolutely not the case, 100% not the case. I can guarantee you that.
That makes OnlyFans potentially more addictive even than casinos, because on OnlyFans you can purchase guaranteed acceptance.
This is correct.
I told you earlier that I responded to that creator who said that she was bored, and I had a hunch that acceptance was a huge piece of the OnlyFans psychology puzzle. So I purposely wrote back the most lame, boring message I could think of just to see if I could get her to reject or ignore me. This is a message that if you sent on a dating app like Tinder or Bumble would get you left on red because it's just totally uninteresting. It's the type of thing that so many guys text, and it's very boring for someone who gets a lot of messages like this to respond to. I said, "Hey there, just doing some work this week. Enjoying the sunshine. WBU. Any plans?" And what do you know? On OnlyFans, I didn't get left on red. She wrote back with a message containing 2 exclamation points and a smiley face emoji.
Oh my
God. That's without even tipping her, which I suspect could have netted me half a dozen exclamation points.
So here's the game. The game on OnlyFans is to get guys to reply. That is the game. The more like, and again, this is an investment thing. It's like, this is the psychological principle that's actually going on. It's an investment thing. So she posts photos with captions saying, "What are your plans this weekend?" or blah, blah, or sends a DM in this example, like, "I'm bored. What are you up to?" Blah, blah, blah. If you get fans to engage and reply to you, then the more, like, what girls often do is they'll reply to like a couple of messages like this, and then they'll say something along the lines of, "Oh, hey honey, I'm really busy. I'm replying to a lot of people right now. If you tip me, I'll put you at the top of the, I'll make sure I get back to you." Or she'll say something like, I put tippers as my first priority with chat. Something along those lines, like basically to imply, if you tip, I'm going to respond to you first, right? Whether or not that is actually true, and she has like hundreds of people replying to her at that exact moment, is neither here nor there. That's what she's telling the guy. So this is why he can say something completely milquetoast. It doesn't fucking matter. He's going to get a reply back to her. It's money. It's a businessman. It's not like he's like she'll read that with like zero emotion. She'll read that and be like, "All right, fans replied. Send back response. Try to get the guy into a conversation." Because if you can get a guy into a conversation on OnlyFans, then you can, like I just mentioned, you can get them to tip stuff, and then you can upsell them on a custom video eventually, and you can upsell them on some of your more premium content. You can get into a conversation, be like, "Hey, what kind of stuff are you into? What kind of fetishes are you into?" Blah 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 blah, and that's when the money comes. That's where the real money is made in OnlyFans, is like in the DMs. So.
The point is, on OnlyFans, I didn't need to make myself interesting to her. I didn't need to stand out from the crowd.
Your cash does
she
that.
would remain interested even if I wasn't interesting.
He's talking about this. Oh, titties. He's talking about this as like he's kind of coming at OnlyFans as if it's a dating app in a way, and it is not. It is not a dating app, man.
The same dynamic in the hobbies of OnlyFans creators. On most dating apps, it's the exception to find a woman who emphasizes her love of basketball, golf, anime, or obscure philosophers. Of course, those women exist, but those interests tend to be mainly held by men. On OnlyFans, the number of women highlighting predominantly male hobbies is through the roof.
Well, mainly they're highlighting, like the probably the biggest common male hobby thread that you'll see on OnlyFans chicks is like gaming. Like that's probably the most common one you'll see. Not every girl does that, but that's a giant chunk of them. They're doing like gaming / anime / cosplay stuff, because that's hobbies that nerdy beta dudes who can't get laid. That's a very large chunk of that demographic, right? So, I mean, like everyone has seen the example of like the hot chicken cosplay rocking up at Comic-Con. Right, and you just think about that social dynamic. Like that chick who's in the hot cosplay at Comic-Con is like the dream girl for like every fucking dude at Comic-Con, right? So it's kind of the same thing here. They're playing on that. Like they're aware of what they're doing. You know, these girls are very, very aware of the fact that they're playing a fantasy for a lot of these guys.
Beyond hobbies, I also saw stories of not fitting in high school and feeling different from everyone else. Now, all of these creators may genuinely have these hobbies and backstories.
That's something that everyone gets as a teenager. That's not as like, that's a universal common. You know, and people don't realize that. Like, oh, I didn't fit in high school. No one feels like they fit in high school. No one does. Even the fucking jocks don't really feel that.
but their representation is far higher than that of the typical dating pool. And I think the reason for this discrepancy is that men sometimes struggle to relate when speaking to a woman they're attracted to.
Correct.
They have to put an effort to make their hobbies relatable to someone who doesn't necessarily share them. Or
doesn't matter if she shares your hobbies. It doesn't matter at all if she shares your hobbies. Your hobbies are for your bros. Do your hobbies with your boys. All right?
Beyond their interests to talk to someone who doesn't love all the same activities, entertainment, and conversational topics.
Doesn't matter. Values. She should share similar values to you. Hobbies don't fucking matter.
Topics. But OnlyFans shortcuts this discomfort. Not only will your dream girl send you naked photos, she'll also...
This caption here, for a fee, you'll get an A+ long-distance relationship with your dream girl. There's no such thing as an A+ long-distance relationship. There's actually no such thing as a long-distance relationship. What you have is friend zone. Because, like, what you have is a girl getting all the attention and affection and, and resources she wants without having to give you any sex. So it's basically a long-distance relationship is a win-lose relationship for a dude. There's no, like, if you're in a long-distance relationship, you're not in a real relationship because there's no physical intimacy between the two of you.
So do the more important work of carrying the conversation, of finding ways to make relating easy. You don't need to feel uncomfortable or at a loss for words or rejected if she doesn't reply.
Yeah, he does make an interesting point there that it's like it's up to the girl to carry the conversation, and he alludes to something right now, which is a really good point.
For a fee, that's all gone. One creator told me that a popular tip mechanic she has is to offer to rate guys' dick pics on a scale of 1 to 10.
Dick pics.
And she said that some men who have been insecure about their penis and received a low score actually feel relieved. Because even if she gives them a low score, they're still part of the group. She'll still answer their messages enthusiastically, still be excited to see their name pop up in the chat, still send them videos of her saying their name sexually if they send the right tip amount. And think how intoxicating that must feel. To reveal your biggest insecurity to someone that you're wildly attracted to. And for them to see that insecurity, tell you the truth about it, and then not have that insecurity impact your relationship. That is...
Well, that's all well and good in fantasy land, in OnlyFans world. But if dudes are starting to, like, here's the problem with this, and I think he does kind of eventually allude to this. All these dudes who are thinking that they're having, like, genuine, real conversations and with the chick and revealing all these private insecurities and stuff, they're training themselves for fucking failure when they eventually do meet a girl in real life. And he does allude to this eventually.
Not always the case outside of OnlyFans. We often have insecurities precisely because at some point we were rejected for some aspect of our body, personality, or our history.
Probably because we sucked. Most of the time. Just being honest. Like, when I was chubby, if I'm a chubby bastard and someone calls me a chubby bastard, because I'm a chubby bastard.
It's one of the most gut-wrenching feelings and one most people avoid at all costs.
True.
So why does OnlyFans exist in a world with lots of pornography? Because if porn offers arousal and orgasm, OnlyFans offers connection without the fear of frustration or rejection.
Correctamundo. 100,000 billion% correct. So that's why I said at the beginning of this breakdown, I was like, he makes a lot of wrong assumptions through like 2/3 of this video, but he nails it at the end here. This is absolutely 100% correct. This is what OnlyFans is about. Connection without rejection or frustration from your dream girl.
The difficulty of getting into,
or guy in my case,
and maintaining a relationship can be bypassed, at least in part. For a price, you get a sex-obsessed long-distance girlfriend without having to offer her anything in return but money.
Except that money thing, you know.
You don't have to interest her, relate to her, or help her through any of her difficulties, unless, of course, that's your thing. In a way, OnlyFans is a direct competitor to personal development resources, including this channel, because you no longer have to change your habits to get different results in your social or romantic life. Now, I should pause and say that OnlyFans doesn't totally replace relationships for all of its subscribers. Several creators told me that they have followers with girlfriends or wives. For those men, they said they offered an escape. But I think that it's a similar escape to the men who are not in a relationship but are also subscribed. In both cases, you leave behind the obligations and pressures of dealing with another potentially difficult human being. My personal take is that this isn't great for the customer.
Correct.
If you bypass the challenges of relating to other people, you deprive yourself of life's major catalyst for personal growth.
Bingo. That's a perfect way of encapsulating the problem with it. Is like I mentioned a second ago, if guys are using this as like a surrogate for relationships, and they're learning to like show their weaknesses and show their insecurities, talk about their feelings, and then they're also like the girl is carrying all the conversation, so they're not learning how to actually chat with a real girl, like how to create value and actually add value to a conversation, because the girl's carrying the whole thing. So he's correct here that you're removing the barrier to all like the necessary challenge to make you grow, right? So he's 100% correct. So all the dudes that are signed up for OnlyFans and are doing this and kind of thinking it's like a faux relationship, when it comes time, I mean, if they ever actually run into a girl in real life who would like to date them, they're going to be horrendously ill prepared. In fact, they'll be actively handicapped when it comes to that situation, unfortunately.
Instead of building hard-won character traits that can last a lifetime, you rely on cash to maintain relationships that are comfortable and pleasing to you.
Well, cash has to be hard-won as well, let's be honest.
So my humble recommendation is to avoid paying for connection. Risk rejection to develop the skills.
I like it's weird how he sort of like as if that isn't obvious. Like the way he said it, like, oh, my advice is avoid paying for connection, as if it's like a dating app. And that's what I think. Like he makes some assumptions in this video. Kind of, it kind of makes me think he's assuming this is a pseudo dating app. I don't think he thinks that, but I think he thinks that other people think that. Yeah.
And the character traits that make you someone people want to be around, and someone that can handle the problems that arise when other people aren't being paid to be friendly.
Bingo.
It's certainly slower and more difficult, but I believe that it's ultimately more rewarding. And you can save your money for somewhere that it can go a lot farther.
All right. That's basically the stop sharing that. That is basically where he gets to the end of it there. Yeah, so that's my breakdown of his breakdown of the psychology of OnlyFans simps. So I think he is completely wrong about it being similar to like a slot machine. But he is, however, the second. He made three assumptions. There was dopamine hooks. It is about intimacy and connection. That is correct, but not on. But I don't think it's like the deep level, like deliberate psychological tweaks of the language that he thinks it is. Or that he makes the assumption that it is. But the third point he is absolutely correct about is like this idea of guaranteed acceptance, guaranteed connection without the fear of rejection. That is absolutely 100% what the psychology of OnlyFans is all about. Thank you, CJ. Thank you very much. I'm not flaking on you, Jack. I'm doing this breakdown so I can be prepared to do another breakdown with you on your show. You wanted me to watch this. So I'm like, all right, I better do my homework. I've got to go on Jack's show at 9. So I don't have time to go through any of the questions right now, because I believe Jack, message me on Instagram, because you were going to send me a link to your live stream, but I'm yet to see it. So where is it? I'm waiting for the link, Jack. I'm waiting for the link. It's right there in my Instagram DMs. Well, while I wait for Jack, let's go back through the chit chat. Yeah, Russell, I can't say I walked into a casino knowing I'm going to get what I want. Yeah, bingo. Maybe it does foment a bit of fear. I'm assuming Bull Rush here, you're talking about like the blurred pay-per-view content. That is definitely accurate. See, if he'd said fear of missing out, I'd be a lot more convinced. Danny Arnold. I have an 18-year-old Latina coworker who has an OnlyFans account. She's sizzling fucking hot too. I confess. I'd love to see what she's got on there, but I'm not paying for it. Dude, just seduce her. Seduce her, and then you get it for free. Simpson slaves must exist to create the most majestic castle. Don't hate them, encourage them. Well, yeah, I'm waiting for you to send me the link, Jack. That's basically it. There's an app called Replica that is essentially a more elaborate chatbot therapy bot that recently had an AR feature to see the third avatar to talk to a texture as well. Very interesting. I noticed that too. Saw her a couple of times in that video. Check your message, Jack, because you told me 9. You told me 9 p.m. my time. So, if I've got a bit of time, I'll still log off and double check. Make sure I'm not cocking up my time right now. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Bruce. They're paying to be orbiters. They're paying to be orbiters. So, what was this last one? Oh, boop, 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 boop. Yeah, said Yucky. OnlyFans is basically an online version of the girlfriend experience. That's a really good way of phrasing it. Yeah, that's a really good way of phrasing it. It's an online version of the girlfriend experience. When I was on Roller Tomasi's show, the last time I was on Roller's show, I believe, I was talking about... I said something along to the effect of the reason these guys get hooked on OnlyFans is because it is like it is the same as one-itis, but it's on a global scale. It's like a virtual long-distance one-itis for a lot of these guys. And as we mentioned before, like there's sort of like the sunk cost fallacy. There's like the more they invest, the more hooked they get, the more they're committed. So all these things compile on top of one another. Yeah. Anyway, I will be logging off now. Hope you guys enjoyed that. A very brief one. And I'll see you again tomorrow. All right.